everyone. So, welcome back. Imagination Day, we're finishing off the day. The last duo for me today to interview. Uh, I'll let you introduce yourself to our listeners.
Hello, I'm David. I'm right now I'm working as a strategy director in Czech agency called ZARAGUZA.
And I'm Vladimír. I'm creative director at the same agency, Zaragoza.
Very good duo, like Batman and Robin. Love it. So basically, I
Who is
really
Batman though?
no, I'll leave that between you two.
Damn, you have a black suit, so I guess you.
But I just wanted to say because we before we start recording this officially, I did say that what you guys today what you presented today is so current and so relevant, and I think a lot of people in the audience were like nodding and clapping and be like, oh my god, finally we're hearing what everyone's been asking, and that's exactly, I think, for the audiences who are listening but weren't able to be in today's presentation. Could you give a little bit of a snapshot? What was your presentation today about? Why am I raving?
Yeah. So we were basically trying to suggest that since we all get so many briefs considering like young people, the Gen Z especially, we try to suggest that maybe we as an industry, as a creative industry, should listen more to them and should not only look for the data, but should also listen for the actual stories, to listen to their insights. And we believe that this will help us all to like assess the information better and get better creative outputs, get better results in the future.
Yeah, and me and Vladia, we can still be considered young, so we are trying to milk it as hard as we can
Well,
because
it depends.
The
it's
clock
not
is ticking.
forever. Yeah.
No.
But also, thank you so much. It's like you can imagine how good it feels to hear those words.
No,
Thank you.
honestly,
Absolutely.
100%. I was extremely excited when I saw the presentation. I was like, oh my God, where were these slides like 10 days ago? So, no, you did an amazing job. But with all seriousness, I have some questions to ask you because this topic is very current. And I just wanted to ask you, because I think what I've seen is that there are a lot of misconceptions that brands have about Gen Z.
Yeah,
A
sometimes they do.
lot,
Yeah,
a
yeah.
lot. And I just wanted to ask you, what do you think are the biggest ones?
Yeah, I think maybe it's not only about brands. I think people in general have misconceptions about Gen Z, and they are like labeling them about like what they think they do or what they think they are instead of seeing and listening to them what they actually are and what they actually think. So I think it's a marketing problem. It's like problem in a general population. So this is the first thing, and I think the biggest misconception is about the sustainability, that we are like the sustainable generation, that we really care about the planet. But if you look at what we are doing, what the young people doing, we are the biggest segment of buyers on Temu. We are the biggest segment of buyers on
I did,
Shein.
yeah, I saw that.
So are we really that environmentally conscious? I'm not so sure.
Yeah, to me it would be like generalizing, basically putting them all into one group, because apart from the age, there's so many differences. We were trying to show it that it's really a generation of contrast, like what David told about the environment and sustainability. It's also true. On the other hand, we can see that so many people like cares about it truly. There's these green influencers on the rise that they are following. They are mostly Gen Z, so there are those trends going like opposite to each other, and it was there with every generation, but we believe here it's even more highlighted. So to me the biggest misconception is to put them all like
In one box.
one
Yeah.
box.
So
Yeah.
basically, whenever you go Generation Z does this or is this, you are probably mistaken because there are some
So
contrast.
basically, we're saying all the agency folk. If you open up your slides with this is what Gen Z are, you're probably
Yeah.
doing it wrong.
Most likely, you do. You do. It's the same for every generation. You can't just label all the people just based on the
Very
number
true.
of on their passport. You know.
Very true. And I would love for you to elaborate a little bit more on the importance of going where young people are, because you do mention it in your presentation. And I just wanted to ask, are there platforms or spaces brands often overlook?
It depends on what you're asking. If you are asking like media placement, I think media placement is pretty good because you go for the reach. I think that brands underestimate where they can learn about Generation Z because TikTok, yes, it's entertainment, but it's it's a treasury of insights because the meme is a reflection of someone's thoughts, of someone's reactions, of someone's behavior. So any content that someone makes is a reflection of himself or herself. So I think, for example, TikTok or mainly TikTok and Instagram Reels are underestimated as a source of inspiration and source of insight.
But would you say, because in your presentation I saw you called out Reddit, for example, it's a wealth of information if you dig there.
Reddit-
Absolutely. Absolutely, like the Reddit or Twitch, as we mentioned, or we can add Discord to this group also. This is where you like get smaller groups, so that's why it might be overlooked a little bit, but you will get more relevant information, I'd say, maybe even better insights than on TikTok and Instagram, which are huge. They are obviously the media placements, as David mentioned, and it's good that those are the placements because people are there, but no one is using only one social media. So exactly as you mentioned, Reddit, Twitch, those are like amazing examples where to get the
Yeah.
insights.
When it comes to listening to young people, I think every social media platform is overlooked because we don't listen to them almost at all, right? So Reddit, Twitch, Instagram, and TikTok is where you should go to listen. And since we are not really listening as a brands, we are not really listening as agencies. All those four are underused.
I've noticed that some agencies and brands are trying to listen, but I think honestly, I don't know, it's entirely listening or just copying, seeing something that it like works. And I think a lot of brands, I don't know, I've seen some Polish brands being guilty of that. That they saw a trend on TikTok, they don't completely understand what the trend is about, but let's just copy it in, and
It's
it's just
amazing that you mentioned this because originally we also had such a slides in presentation that there's difference between like copying something and utilizing pretty much the learning. If you copy a trend, that may be great for like a short term, basically, you show something, but you can't only live on that because that's just not enough. But utilizing the insights that you get, this is where we see the like real value. So
exactly, because it's more authentic because you
yeah.
learn what really is behind the trend and not just literally slapping in your logo and doing a trend on social
You
media.
are absolutely right. What's very important is the difference on the stark contrast between imitation and inspiration. Yeah, if you see some content and you think it's good, you should inspire. You should be inspired, but you shouldn't try to imitate it.
Completely agree. I would like to also ask you, what do you see as the most critical trends young people are engaging with online right now?
I think we had a part in our presentation about sharing and oversharing. And it's not, let's say, extremely current that it happens this week, but we as a young generation, we tend to share and overshare things we like to tell on ourselves. And the concept of privacy, the concept of, let's say, digital footprint, the concept that maybe I should keep some things private, maybe I shouldn't share everything with the internet, I shouldn't share everything with my followers. I think that is getting destroyed and people are starting to share everything. There is trend that we listen but we don't judge. And it's literally like confession, but it's not anonymous as on Reddit. That I am some XXX and I confess this because no one's ever gonna link it to my person. No, it's my face. It's a face of my partner, and we confess to each other. But at the same time, we confess to
Whole
the
world.
whole world. Yeah. So this concept of maybe something should remain private, it's getting erased.
Okay.
That was very nice answer. I will mention something else. I will mention raw dogging, which is this trend where you are pretty much trying to go like absolutely real, like for example, flying 10 hours without like having your
Yes.
phone and listening
Yes.
to music, and even like standing up and doing stuff like that, which it's funny, but it can get really tricky. Like, for example, it's really unhealthy, and it's proven that it's really unhealthy to sit straight for 10 hours.
Yes.
Or some people are doing like mental health issues, raw dogging without medication, which is also not good. So this trend, for most, it's funny, but it also has kind
Impact.
of darker corners and impact where it's not really good.
This is a great example how you can spot something influential, because raw dogging is about doing something like asceticism. Yeah, it's doing something the proper way, but it could be also called, let's say, winter arc. Yeah, I'm going into my winter arc. It's doing something proper. I'm maxing something. Yeah, I'm looks maxing. I'm gym maxing. I'm doing something proper. I'm doing something in most optimized way it's possible. I like to do it in not aesthetic but aesthetic way. So we have 3 different names for one type of behavior. So it's not a fad. It's not something that's gonna fizzle out in a week. This is something that reflects what our generation think. This is something that reflects how our generation behave.
Great answers, thank you both. And just to, because looking at time, I wanted to also ask, how can a brand adapt to trends quickly without seeming like they're trying too hard?
Trying too hard, yeah. I think everybody perceive that I myself try too hard often. So I'm not sure. If I'm
He's the right guy to say that. Yeah.
Like I'm really try harding guy, but yeah, I think the best thing is that you should be inspired by your trend. You should be inspired by the current situation. Also, this is on one hand, but on the other hand, you should reflect what your brand is about. So
you.
you shouldn't hop on every single trend. Think about your positioning. Think about what your brand stands for, what your brand means, and if you find the intersection, great. If you don't find it, don't force it.
Yeah, and I also think that brands like shouldn't be afraid to be brands because these people they know that the brands are part of the world. You know, it's really important for them. They want them to be purposeful, but there's no need to like hide that advertising is advertising. The people are like smart enough. You don't need to feel bad about it. Just kind of like be more authentic because these people perceive brands as something that's natural part of the world.
Oh yes.
They just want them to behave a little bit better, let's say,
Oh,
you
yes.
know, and to be relevant. So
Maybe we can be very specific how you can find something that's trending and how your brand can reflect it. We saw some trending about skincare, about SPF that young people really
Conscious.
they're conscious about their skin and they are very conscious about applying SPF. So we did a campaign around it with Burger King because Whoppers should be grilling, not your skin. So this is an intersection between what's trendy, what young people care about, and what your brand
Applying
puts
what your brand stands
yes.
for.
yeah, exactly.
So you need to find the intersection and use it. And we do those things like 2 a year. It's not like for every month we need to find something. No, if you find it, great. If you don't force it.
Completely agree. I think it's that's the beauty of real-time marketing, like really finding an appropriate moment, not jumping on everything that appears, but really finding something that works for your brand and tapping into that story. So great example. Love that Burger King example. And then last question. So what common mistakes do brands make when trying to communicate with young people?
I think we can cut the time because we would only repeat ourselves.
So copying.
I think the copying. I think trying to force things when they shouldn't be forced is the biggest mistake they do.
Yeah, and also understand that the transformation it comes from acts and behavior, not only the communication. So sometimes they are trying to make like very Gen Z communication, but the
Oh my
brand
God,
and the
yes.
products are still kind of like stuck in the past, you know, and that's never going to be believable and authentic. So I
Oh,
think
yeah,
you should
that's right.
start like within and only then top it with the communication because it will be believable.
Yes, I've seen so many brands being
Yeah,
guilty
I
of that.
mean, we've done that things in the past, you know. For example, when I worked for Vodafone, we did like amazing Gen Z ad, but it backfired on us because they were like, but the products aren't
Yeah.
like really up to date, you know. The data plan isn't unlimited, and
There,
it's
there
not
is
the
13 steps to set up the account.
yeah,
Honestly, I
yeah.
also work on Vodafone, and I'm smiling because I literally had the same brief as you,
Oh, yeah.
and it also backfired.
I
So
think so. So for the next time, we were trying to improve the product first, and that's how we learn it, you know.
I think this is you should be optimistic about it because once you figure it all, your product and your service as well as the communication, you're gonna stand from the crowd. You can imagine how distinctive you will be and how different you will be from the rest. So yeah, be
Complete-
very motivated by
Well,
that. Yeah.
thank you both. This was
you.
extremely inspiring. I highly recommend trying to connect with the gentlemen on LinkedIn because they really did crack the code and have great examples how to get to young people. So thank you so much both for coming in, and hopefully enjoy Warsaw.
We should start posting on LinkedIn then.
Oh my God!
Thank you.
Yes, and they'll start posting right after this event.
Thank you.
Thank
We
you so
appreciate
much.
it very
Thank
much.
you.
It
Cheers.
was
Thank
so
you.
nice.